Washington Times front page for Friday, January 9th, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The White House has rejected Democrats' demands to pull immigration enforcement out of Minnesota in the wake of the killing of Renee Good by ICE officers this week. Stephen Dinan and Jeff Murdoch report the White House claims that would give in to terrorism and blame sanctuary city politicians for encouraging Good to confront officers. The Minneapolis shooting has deepened the gulf between supporters of President Trump's immigration enforcement policies, who see the shooting as justified, and his opponents, who think otherwise. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the department has tallied 66 vehicular attacks since the beginning of last year. It tallied 2 during the same time frame in 2024. DHS described the shooting as defensive. The Senate has passed a war powers resolution to block President Trump from taking further military action in Venezuela without congressional approval. Lindsay McPherson reports the 52-47 procedural vote was taken just days after a joint military and law enforcement operation captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. House Republican leaders are unlikely to bring up the measure in their chamber, but Democrats plan to force a vote on their own privileged war powers resolution. Lawmakers supporting the war powers measure suspect the president will take more military action to fulfill his vow that the U.S. will run Venezuela until it can transition to a new government. Maryland Representative Steny Hoyer has announced he will retire from the House after 44 years in Congress. Mallory Wilson reports the 86-year-old Hoyer was first elected in a special election in 1981. Hoyer's tenure included turns as House Democratic Whip, Deputy Majority Whip, and Chair of the Democratic Caucus, while representing Southern Maryland and suburban counties east of D.C. Hoyer is known as the lead House sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990 and for his role in the Help America Vote Act of 2002 after the controversy surrounding the 2000 election. The Supreme Court will take up a lawsuit that pits oil companies against a Louisiana parish that says the industry has eroded its coastline through decades of fossil fuel activities. The underlying battle, Alex Sawyer reports, centers on whether Chevron and ExxonMobil can be held liable under a 1978 Louisiana law for what Plaquemines Parish says is unrepaired environmental damage. A state jury last year awarded Plaquemines Parish more than $740 million in its lawsuit against Chevron. That ruling would be wiped out if the Supreme Court rules the matter should have been heard in federal court. And finally, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recently made a move to reshuffle his inner circle. Guillaume Patak reports Zelensky named Lieutenant General Kirilo Budanov as head of the presidential office, one of the most politically exposed posts in the Ukrainian system. Budanov reportedly has a strong relationship with key U.S. officials. Some observers speculate Zelensky is testing whether a wartime intelligence figure can be integrated into the machinery of civilian governance without compromising operational effectiveness or political control. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.